Welcome to Rauta's 85, this time 5 different releases, new and old, and of various styles. We have here kind of a groove metal, we have black metal, we have kind of a death and roll, and black and thrash, and stuff like that. Once again, in alphabetical order, let's start with the Bloody Falls, which is a band from Finland. This one is quite fresh from the oven, released in late October, actually the very day I am doing this video. And this one is a full album by the band with a relatively new lineup. And this is an interesting case because these guys kind of want to do groove metal, but also melodic death metal, but also include some kind of a gothic parts. It's as if they wanted to include some Cradle of Filth like gothic spoken parts, which are kind of a cringe to be honest, but also, you know, with men and female vocals to do that. But that feels really off when the music is more like, let's have these groove riffs, not exactly like Pantera, but it's kind of a similar vibe, you know. Then again, also this kind of a melodic death parts, and parts that could be something like melodic death thrash and all. They're all put together in a kind of a weird mixed salad, really, and feels like some of those ideas are really off. Of this full album, I would say roughly cut half, and then you have only the good parts selected, and it's pretty decent. But for this kind of album, it's more like mediocrity, except that the production is really good. Vocals, quite okay, can't really bitch about them, but the spoken words, why? In case you're for groovier stuff, check it out. Then we have a Ukrainian bedroom black metal project called Midnight Silence. One could say, or make this kind of a theory, that an Ethos is a product of COVID year. That is when people have too much time in their hands and not really can't go to rehearsal room with full bands or, you know, participate in gigs. Then you start have these kind of bands popping up. I mean, I've seen plenty of bands that have been founded in 2020 or 2021, and suddenly, boom, there's first album without demoing and whatnot. And Midnight Silence is exactly that. Lots of synthesizers, lots of crappy riffs, some mediocre ones, some better ones, and then you have one man operating it all. In my opinion, this feels like that there is like handful of good ideas. So if like 1/3 of these best ideas were put on an album, or maybe like rather an EP, it would be actually rather good and decent. But now it seems like everything is kind of a poor because of, I don't know, budget or time or just one man putting it all there, and nobody's going to say, no, that's not going to work. Some kind of a producer to say, remove that riff, don't use those synths, do those vocals a little bit better, and you get the idea. In case you're a hardcore bedroom black metal fan, go check out Midnight Silence. Otherwise, nope. It's mediocrity with some decent ideas. Then we have a band from Finland, Mutant Blast, with Detonation. To be honest, this cover kind of implies this is going to be some thrash metal, the old school way, or maybe some kind of a death metal with a tongue-in-cheek or something like that, maybe Municipal Waste or something like that, but this is actually death and roll with a little bit trashier ideas. One could even say this is kind of a melodic death metal meeting that death and roll, and kind of a proving point that Swedes are not the only ones who can actually do this kind of stuff. This is also a very new band, only a couple of singles out there so far, and then this 22 minutes of an EP, which is the debut release by the band. And yeah, this production is really solid, and it's kind of proving that there's a lot of understanding how to do proper production for this kind of music. Now, when it comes to the songwriting, I must say, yeah, it's not quite there yet. It's more like a demo material. You have these kind of a groovier parts, you have these kind of a death metal parts, kind of a trashier ideas, and then some. But all the hit material is missing. This is very listenable, but also as much forgettable. So kind of like, yeah, not yet. But at least a lot of potential with that band. Then we have an interesting release from United States of America. I was actually thinking at first that the Starless Domain must be one of those bedroom black metal projects which I just mentioned. This is Ethos, already a couple of years old. There is a newer album out by the band already, which I haven't heard, so I can't really compare. Because this sounds like one of those drum machine synths, very cosmic feeling and very weird screamy vocals with also kind of a murmuring, growlier parts. Everything sounds like one-man project, except that it seems like this band is a trio. Curious enough, this features only one track, but that is 58 minutes long. So basically, it's a full album in one song, and that's it. It kind of makes sense, to be honest, because this is more like you have this kind of a cosmic feeling. A little bit like Limbonic art, but less hyperactive and all that stuff. What then again sucks is that those growly vocals are quite useless, and this is a very, very monotone an album. It's more like one-trick pony. Once you've heard the first, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, you pretty much know where it's gonna go. And if you don't like that first 10 minutes, nothing's gonna change by the time you're finished. But then again, there is something really interesting, what I really like with the feeling. That is very, very kind of a cosmic evil, like as if there was a dead star in the sky or something, and you just can't stop staring at the motherfucker. So you kind of like it. You're very, very much captivated by it. But then you realize you're just staring at the dead star. Nothing is gonna happen, even if you stare for like 2 years. So a little bit hit and miss. I would say promising, but not quite there yet. Yeah, I keep repeating myself today because it seems a lot of these releases are very much of the same quality. That kind of like, almost like a 7, but not exactly. Which brings me to the last album here in question. This one is from Austria. It's Transylvania with the debut album The Night of Nights. This is also a band that released a newer album, actually this year, but haven't got it for review, so can't really speak about it. But this one came over in 2018. Relatively new band, and this is the debut album. Few guys from Austria playing, not exactly pure black metal, but kind of a black metalish thing, because this is melodic black thrash with quite a lot of heavy metal included. In fact, I would go as far as to say this is the kind of a release, like if you remove those kind of a shrieky black metal vocals, this could be just called, heavy thrash metal combination. Now the good thing here is, these guys know how to groove. They're totally fine melodic parts, kind of a good groove, not too fast, mind you. It's not hyper blasting or anything like that. And you need kind of a feeling where old heavy metal goes to die, or then just transforms into thrash metal. And that's it. But then you have this kind of a blackened shade all over it, especially with the vocals, and that's where it kind of transforms into black thrash. But to say there is no heavy metal at all would be just all out lying. Quite promising, in fact. I almost gave this one a 7, because it's actually kind of enjoyable. But then again, it also feels like after a couple of songs, it's just repeating itself with kind of a, I wouldn't say mediocrity, but just like okay ideas. Definitely a decent release, but not beyond that. An interesting release, an interesting concept to mix, heavy metal with black metal, with thrash metal, and then it makes you sound like your own style, and still having kind of a little bit of a vampiric vision. So there is something like the Swedish band Tribulation, with its kind of a gothic feeling of, of these elements, not exactly gothic metal, not exactly death metal, not exactly black metal, but still having a little bit all those dots all over. Transylvania is a bit roughly the same territory, but also a little bit different, and, well, less gothic as well. So, 5 different albums, 5 different styles, more or less. Had I choose the winner, it would be a tricky one, because none of these exactly sounds really, really good. I'll be honest with you. None of these are going into my personal collection. None of these are as good. But if I had to pick one, maybe it would be this Transylvania, to be honest. I think that's the most refreshing on the pile. But now you have it. Check out with the links provided in the description box. Click the ones you like or are interested in, and skip the ones you are not. That's my advice. Have a good time with these ones, and see you soon with more reviews coming your way.